आप सबके सभी लोगों के जीवन में एक उसको तैयार कीजिए तथा मुझे अपने सी चरणों में छाया प्रदान कीजिए। आपका इन लोगों में प्रदान है शिव सौकाल की जय।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, धन प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्णा।
नाम पावन भी वैष्णव नमः। हरिवासु प्रभु जी की जय।
प्रभु की जय।
हम तो बहुत एक्साइटेड है प्रभु जी आपसे सीखने के लिए। वी आर योर स्टूडेंट्स, हम लाइफ लॉन्ग आपके स्टूडेंट्स रहेंगे, हमारा सौभाग्य है। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर अग्रीइंग टू गिव दिस 3 सेशन सेमिनार और अपने इतना सुंदर टॉपिक लिया है प्रभु जी श्री विग्रह सेवा को लेकर के। सो ऑल ऑफ अस आर वेरी वेरी एक्साइटेड एंड फ्रॉम द कोर ऑफ आवर हार्ट्स वी want to offer our gratitude to you. Thank you so very much. So all those listeners, मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगा this session is going to be in English because Prabhuji's audience is all across the globe. So that's why the session is going to be in English. So but yes, that's all of us. Welcome Prabhuji in this Zoom session class by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is Hari Pārṣad Prabhuji ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you hear me clearly?
Yes Prabhuji.
All right. So I'm really very thankful, dear Amoglila Prabhu, for kindly inviting me here to speak something on the topic of Śrī-Vigraha and its service. And I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person at ISKCON Dwarka. And we have to organize a Zoom session. But I'm really very grateful to yourself and to all the other devotees who are kindly present here. Thank you for kindly being there in the audience. And thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to speak something about Śrī-Vigraha and its seva. The Shishta Parampara established by the previous Acharyas is to begin any event with Mangalacharan. So I would like to begin our today's program with Mangalacharan. But before that, I'd like to share my screen. So dear devotees, I'd like to begin the 3-part presentation on Śrī-Vigraha and its service. So we'll begin Mangalacharan, dear devotees. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल। Once again, I'd like to thank all the dear devotees who are present in the audience. Thank you so very much, Amoglila Prabhu, for once again kindly inviting me to speak something here. My sincere thanks also to Jai Dwarka Prabhu, who has taken such a keen interest in the study of Shastra, the study of Gaudiya Vaishnava literature. And my thanks also to Shant Gopinath Prabhu, who is managing the technical aspects of this entire presentation. My thank you to all the wonderful devotees who have contributed to organizing this seminar in any way. So thank you very much, dear devotees. Today we are beginning the first part of the presentation on Śrī-Vigraha and its service. Before we begin, I'd like to start by a statement from His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada wants to say something about deity worship. In a letter that he wrote on 18th of March 1969, Srila Prabhupada says, if one attains perfection in deity worship, that is called Archana Siddhi. Archana Siddhi means simply by deity worship one goes back to Godhead immediately after this life. So this Archana Siddhi program is given in the Narada Pancharatra, especially for the householders. Householders cannot undergo strict disciplinary activities of austerity. Therefore, for every householder, the path of Archana Siddhi is very much recommended. So Jai Srila Prabhupada. So he is explaining here that deity worship is one service through which one can immediately attain perfection in this very life. And one should follow the process of deity worship as given in the authorized literature such as Shri Narada Pancharatra, etc. He also says that since householders, they cannot have strict disciplinary activities of austerity, which the other renunciates may be able to carry out. For example, the renunciates, they travel from one place to another without worrying for what food they'll get, what shelter they'll get. So the renunciates carry out much more austerity, and the householders, they are situated in the comforts of their homes. Therefore, for the householders, the path of deity worship is especially recommended. Obviously, those who are renunciates should also engage in deity worship, but primarily he says that for the householders it is very much recommended. So this is our process of Śrī-Vigraha Seva. But before we begin understanding what is Śrī-Vigraha Seva, we should understand what are the various technical terms, what is the meaning of Vigraha, what is the meaning of Śrī-Vigraha. So all these terms we should understand. So in order to understand these terms, we should know that in the dictionaries, especially in dictionaries such as Amar Kosh, there are 11 terms mentioned for a body or for a form. So a body or a form has 11 main terms to denote it in the Sanskrit language. These terms are mentioned in the Amar Kosh. So any body or any form can be denoted using these 11 terms. First is Gatram, then Vapuhu, Samharanam, Shariram. We know Shariram because Sharira is used in other languages such as Hindi, etc. Then there is Varshma. Then one term for a body is Vigraha. So the body of a person, any individual, can also be known as Vigraha. Then there is Kaya. Then obviously Deha, which is also common. Then another term for a body is Murti. Then Tanuhu and Tanu. So the first Tanu has a short U. The final Tanu has a long U. So Tanu and Tanu. So these are 11 synonyms for a body as mentioned in the Amar Kosh. The term Vigraha basically means Vividham Sukham Grihnati. Grihnati, it accepts Vividham Sukham, various joys, various happiness through the various senses. Therefore, Vividham Graha, Grihnati. So it accepts various types of joys. Therefore, it is known as Vigraha. Now, this term Vigraha is used for a human body in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself. For example, when describing the old body of Chyavan Muni in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter, verse 14, the term has been used Vali Palita Vigraha. So Srimad Bhagavatam uses the term Vigraha in relation to a human body, and that is the body of Chyavan Muni. So Vali Palita means whose Vigraha had wrinkled skin and falling hair. So Vali is basically skin that has become whitish and wrinkled due to old age, and Palita is falling hair. So Vali Palita Vigraha. So this term Vigraha is used in the sense of a human body. Now the term Murti means Murchati iti. Basically, it falls unconscious from time to time. Therefore, it is known as Murti. And the Srimad Bhagavatam also uses the term Murti in connection with a body. It says Tvashtra Murtina in the 6th canto, which means the form of the son of Tvashta. So in this way, the terms Vigraha and Murti, they are originally meant in the dictionary for denoting any form or any body. Therefore, when we refer to the deity, we usually call it Śrī-Vigraha or we call it Shri Murti. So sometimes we also call it, in general, Vigraha or Murti. But the original term for a deity is Śrī-Vigraha or Shri Murti, because the terms Vigraha and Murti are used for denoting any form or any body of any entity. In the same Amar Kosh, there are separate terms for denoting a carved image, and these are Pratimanam, Pratibimbam, Pratima. We have heard the term Pratima. Pratiyatana, Pratichaya, Pratikriti. Pratikriti also is a fairly commonly used term. Pratikriti means replica. And Archa. So Archa is a commonly heard term in devotee circle. And Pratinidhi. So these are 8 synonyms for a carved image. So amongst these, we have heard the term Archa. What is the meaning of the term Archa? Archyate iti. Archa. It is worshipped, therefore it is known as Archa. And therefore, we also call our deities as Archa Vigraha, a form that is worshipped. So Archa Vigraha refers to any form that is worshipped. So that can also be the form of Guru. That can also be the form of Srila Prabhupada. So we offer worship to the deity form of Srila Prabhupada. So that is known as Archa Vigraha, because we have carved an image, Archa, and it is a Vigraha, it is a form, and we are worshipping it. So therefore, any form that is worshipped can be called as Archa Vigraha. But generally, the term Archa Vigraha is used mainly for Bhagwan's deity. And in a secondary way, it is also used for the Guru's deity. For mainly, it is used in the context of Bhagwan's deity. So, Śrī-Vigraha and Śrī Murti, both terms are used. What is the meaning of Śrī-Vigraha and Śrī Murti? Śrī-Vigraha means Śrī Yukta Vigraha, which means a form equipped with Shri. What does Shri mean? Shri can mean Shrimati, Radharani, Shri Lakshmi. So the form of the Lord is always with Shri. Therefore, Shri Yukta Vigraha, which is known as Śrī-Vigraha. Shri can also mean opulence or beauty. So sometimes the form of the Lord is alone. For example, whenever we see a deity of Lord Dattatreya, so he is alone, Lakshmi is not with him. But he is also endowed with Shri or Lakshmi, which is the opulence of having detachment, the opulence of austerity. So he is also Shri Yukta Vigraha, therefore Śrī-Vigraha, and Shri Yukta Murti, Shri Murti. So both have the same meaning, a form equipped with Shri. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, Shri Sanatana Goswami confirms this in the commentary to first chapter, verse number 12. In the Digdarshini commentary, Shri Sanatana Goswami says, Shri Murtayah Shri Bhagavat Pratikratayah. What are Shri Murtis? He says Shri Murtis are Pratikritis, replicas of Shri Bhagavan in this particular material world. So dear devotees, we will remember this term Pratikriti. Pratikriti is exact replica. That is the meaning of Pratikriti. So Pratikriti is a replica of Shri Bhagavan which has appeared in this world. But although I am speaking so many Siddhantas, we need to go back to our basics, because many of us who have come to Bhakti, many of us have come from backgrounds in which we were taught, as we say in Hindi, कि मूर्ति पत्थर की होती है, मानो तो भगवान है, नहीं मानो तो पत्थर है, which means it is made out of stone, and if you believe in it, it is Bhagwan, if you don't believe in it, it is stone. So many times in the society, such viewpoints are given, and those of us who become devotees after hearing such viewpoints, sometimes we have severe doubts, in the Śrī-Vigraha. And these doubts have originally stemmed from those who are impersonal in their understanding of Shastra. Many impersonalists, they constantly keep doubting Śrī-Vigraha and Śrī Murti. There is one society in India which claims to be a spiritual society, and they firmly believe in the Vedas, but they say that Bhagwan has no form and there can be no deity. They don't believe in deity Śrī-Vigraha at all. So many of them are impersonalists, and they cast severe doubts on the validity of Śrī-Vigraha. Some of these doubts are as follows. The first, they say, is that the absolute truth has no form. How can it take a limited form? Because so many places in Shastra it has said that the absolute truth has no form, arupam. So how can it become limited in a particular form that has a particular size and shape. This is the first doubt which is in the mind of an impersonalist. And sometimes those who become devotees may also carry these doubts within their minds. Second, they often say that the murti is made out of matter. And how can a material substance become spiritual? So this is also a doubt, a severe doubt, which is present in the minds of many impersonalists, that it is made out of matter. So why do you consider it spiritual? Third is, sometimes they ask tricky questions. Is Bhagwan within the murti? Or is murti separate and Bhagwan separate, and is he simply represented by the murti? You know, in computers, we have shortcuts. So the shortcut is not the original file. The shortcut is simply a link to the original file. So is the murti like this? That is it like a representative of Bhagwan? Or is he directly the murti? So, you know, is Bhagwan directly the murti? Is he represented by the murti, or is Bhagwan within the murti? Tell us one perfect siddhanta which exists. So many of these impersonalists, they will ask such tricky questions. And fourth, and which is a very emotional argument, they will say, Arey, in the past, many murtis were destroyed by invaders. You know, India has a recent history of invasions happening for at least 1,000 years now. And whenever the invaders who did not believe in, you know, deities or murtis, when they invaded India, one of the prominent things that they did is they destroyed many murtis within many temples. So immediate question is, Arey, this murti cannot protect itself. You think this murti will protect us? So in this way, many severe doubts are cast on Shri Murti and its seva. So today we will try to answer these doubts one by one. We will try to see how we can answer each and every one of these doubts. I'll need somebody who can take the role of an impersonalist for the time being. So, Jai Dwarka Prabhu, on your mobile phone, Prabhu, can you take the role of an impersonalist for some time for the sake of this lecture, Prabhu? All right. So,
I'll do.
okay. So, Jai Dwarka Prabhu is going to take the role of an impersonalist for the sake of this particular lecture. First and foremost, the first doubt which is cast on the Śrī-Vigraha is that the absolute truth has no form. How can it take a limited form? So this is the first doubt. And in Hindi they say भगवान जो है वो सर्वव्यापी है, किसी एक जगह पर नहीं हो सकते. That he is all pervasive. He cannot be limited to one small shape and one small form. So therefore, this principle of murti or deity is absolutely invalid. So this is the first doubt that they cast. When somebody asks them, where is it said that Bhagwan or the absolute truth has no form? So they say, you see, it is written in the Upanishads. What is written in the Upanishads? Ashabdam, asparsham, arupam. They point out from the Upanishads. In the Katha Upanishad, it is said that the supreme absolute truth is ashabdam. The supreme absolute truth is asparsham and arupam. Ashabdam means it has no sound. Asparsham means it cannot be touched. And arupam means it has no form. So, dear Jai Dwarka Prabhu, you are our today's impersonalist, Prabhu. Do you firmly believe in this Siddhanta? Yes, Prabhu.
No, Prabhu.
Huh?
Yes,
You have to take the role of an impersonalist. All right.
Okay. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So you believe firmly in this Siddhanta, a Shabdam, a Sparsham, a Rupam. The Supreme Truth has no sound, no touch, no form. But Sri Jiva Goswami points out another Upanishad, which says, wait, dear impersonalist, the Supreme Absolute Truth is also described in positive ways. Sarva Karma, Sarva Kamaha, Sarva Gandhaha, Sarva Rasaha. You quote Upanishads, we will also quote Upanishads. Sarva Karma, he performs all deeds. Are Baba, how can he perform all deeds without having a form? Sarva Kamaha, he has all desires. Sarva Gandhaha, he has all good fragrances. Sarva Rasaha, he has all nice tastes. So, dear Jai Dwarka Prabhu, is the absolute truth also not described in positive ways in the Upanishads? Please tell me yes or no.
Yes, Prabhuji, it is given.
So why do you only describe the absolute truth in these negative ways? You should also describe the absolute truth in positive ways. So the absolute truth is not simply negative, but the impersonalists focus only on the negative shrutis, which describe the absolute truth in this impersonal way. Actually, the absolute truth is both without form and it has all forms. It is without touch, yet it can be touched. So it is without sound, yet it has a sound. Therefore, when it is said ashabdam, asparsham, arupam, dear Jai Dwarka Prabhu, ashabdam means it has no sound. So dear Jai Dwarka Prabhu, does the absolute truth have any sound? Please tell me.
Yes, Prabhuji.
You are an impersonalist. I am quoting the Shruti in front of you. What are you doing? You are joining the Vaishnav school, Prabhu. You have to say, become Pakka impersonalist, Prabhu, for this lecture. It's the, can the absolute truth have any sound within it?
But Prabhuji, scriptures are there, so that is sound of the absolute truth.
All right. So you are saying you yourself agree, the impersonalist himself agrees that although the absolute truth is a shabdam, it has no sound, still the absolute truth is represented by sound. And that sound is nothing but pranava or omkar. So om is the sound which is representing the absolute truth. So dear impersonalist, if a sound can represent the absolute truth, why can't a form represent the absolute truth? If a sound like Om can represent the absolute truth, why can't a form represent the absolute truth? You are restricting the absolute truth only to sound. You say only Om denotes the absolute truth. Why can't the deity of the Lord, the form of the Lord, also denote the absolute truth? The Taittiriya Upanishad says, Om iti Brahma. Om does not simply denote the absolute truth. Om is the absolute truth. Just like we say, the deity doesn't represent Bhagwan. The deity directly is Bhagwan. So similarly, Om doesn't represent the absolute truth. Om is directly the absolute truth. So in this way, just as a sound can represent the absolute truth, Om is a limited sound because it can get pronounced in a limited amount of time. We start saying Om, and the sound vibration is complete. So just as a limited sound vibration can represent the unlimited absolute truth, similarly, a limited form can also represent the unlimited absolute truth. And not only represent, the limited form itself is the unlimited absolute truth. So this question should be remembered by all devotees who are answering impersonalists. that the absolute truth has no sound, as mentioned in the Upanishad above. So how can it take the form of a limited sound like Om? If the absolute truth can have Shabda Pratikriti. Shabda Pratikriti means sound replica, such as Om. Then why not a Rupa Pratikriti? Why not a shape replica? So this is the first argument, first reply given to the impersonalist who doesn't believe in the deity. Because even the impersonalist believes in the Vedas. The impersonalist believes that Om represents the absolute truth. Not only that, Om iti Brahma, Om is directly the absolute truth. So therefore, if the absolute truth can have a limited sound replica, Shabda Pratikriti, then why not a shape replica, Rupa Pratikriti? So this is the first argument to be given. Srila Jiva Goswami therefore says in the Bhagavad Sandarbha, Aishwarya Yogad Bhagavan Viruddhartho Bhithiyate. Sri Jiva Goswami quotes the Kurma Puran and says, Bhagavan should have opposite qualities. Don't limit Bhagavan to only one set of negative qualities. So due to his eternal potency, Shri Bhagavan is known as Viruddha Artha. He is the entity who contains and harmonizes opposite qualities, which means he has no form, yet he has unlimited forms. So both are present in one entity, and that is Bhagavan. And Viruddha Artha, he is the only personality who can combine and harmonize opposite qualities within himself. Therefore, Sri Jiva Goswami also quotes a beautiful Shruti. This is Narsimha Tapani Upanishad. He quotes, we have heard the mantra Ugram Viram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham, describing Sri Narsimha Dev. So Sri Jiva Goswami quotes the same Upanishad from which this mantra is there. The same Upanishad describes Narsimha Dev in opposite terms. Just see how the Upanishad describes Sri Narsimha Dev. Ugram Anugram. He is fierce, yet he is gentle. Viram Aviram. He is Veer, very brave, yet Aviram, not brave. Mahantam Amahantam. He is very big, yet he is not very big. Vishnum Avishnum. He is all pervasive, yet he is limited in size. So Vishnum Avishnum. Vishnu means Veveshti Vyapnoti iti Vishnu. He is all pervasive, yet he is Avishnum. He is limited in form. Jwalantam Ajwalantam. He is very fiery, yet he is very cool. Sarvato Mukham. Everywhere are his faces, yet Sarvato Mukham. The deity faces only in one direction. So he is Sarvato Mukham. But when we install him as Śrī-Vigraha, he faces one direction. So the deity form of the Lord, is a beautiful harmonization of opposite qualities. Ugram Anugram, Viram Aviram, Mahantam Amahantam, Vishnum Avishnum, Jwalantam Ajwalantam, Sarvato Mukham Asarvato Mukham. We should understand this Siddhanta, and this is a very important Siddhanta, dear devotees. We have to pay very close attention now, because this Siddhanta, if it is fixed firmly in our mind, we will not have any doubt about Śrī-Vigraha. Our Bhagavan, the Supreme Absolute Truth, he has two forms in this material world. So there are two forms in this material world of Shri Bhagavan. The first is called as Shabda Pratikriti, sound replica. So the first replica in the material world is Shabda Pratikriti, also known as sound replica. The ancient literature call it Shabda Brahma. So Shabda Brahma is the sound replica of Bhagavan in this material world, nothing but the Vedas. So all the Vedas are Shabda Brahma. They are a replica in the form of sound. What are the Vedas? If Krishna is to appear in the form of sound, then that is Vedas. That is Shabda Pratikriti. That is Shabda Brahma. So sound manifestation of Bhagavan in this world is the first manifestation. and second is Rupa Pratikriti, shape replica. It is also known as Śrī-Vigraha, and Shastra gives a term for it also known as Param Brahma. So there are two replicas of Bhagwan in this material world, Shabda Brahma and Param Brahma. So we should remember these two terms, Shabda Brahma, Param Brahma. And these are mentioned in the Shastra themselves. Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagwan himself says in the 6th canto, chapter 16, verse 51, Shabda Brahma, Param Brahma, Mamobhe Shashwati Tanu. He mentions both Shabda Brahma and Param Brahma. And he says, Mama Ubhe Shashwati Tanu, Shashwati Tanu. These are my eternal replicas. These are my eternal forms in this material world. So here is the translation. Srila Prabhupada translates very nicely. These two forms of mine, namely, first, Shabda Brahma, the transcendental sound, which means Shabda Pratikriti, which means Vedas, which also includes the original Bij Omkar. This transcendental sound is Shabda Brahma. It is Shabda Pratikriti, sound replica of Bhagwan. And second is Param Brahma, the eternally blissful spiritual form of the deity. These are my eternal forms, Shashwati Tanu. They are not material. So this praman from Srimad Bhagavatam, Shabda Brahma, Param Brahma, Mama Ubhe Shashwati Tanu. This praman is very, very important for us to understand. That just as Bhagwan appears in the form of Vedas in this world, Jai Dwarka Prabhu, are the Vedas limited in size in this world, or are they unlimited in size in this world?
Limited.
So how can a limited sound vibration represent the unlimited absolute truth? It is very important to understand. So in this material world, just as a limited sound vibration, Om, can represent an unlimited absolute truth. Not only does it represent, Om is itself the unlimited absolute truth. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Pranavah Sarva Vedeshu, that in all the Vedas I am directly Pranav, I am directly Omkar. So just as Shabda Pratikriti can represent Bhagwan and it is directly Bhagwan, similarly Rupa Pratikriti or deity is also directly Bhagwan, non-different from Bhagwan. So these, if we understand, then it will be very easy. Now keep using the same logic. Catch this thread of the Vedas, and whatever argument the impersonalist is giving against the deities, put the same argument in front of him by using the Vedas. So second is, the murti is made out of matter. How can a material substance become spiritual? So our dear impersonalist today is Jai Dwarka Prabhu. Prabhu, do you agree? Murti is made out of matter? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, you agree. Murti is made out of matter. And there is a nice verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam which supports your understanding. Shaili darumai lauhi lepya lekhya cha saikati manomai manimai pratimashta vidha smrita. The Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto describes the 8 varieties in which the Pratima, deity form of the Lord, is made. What are the 8 varieties? Stone, wood, metal, earth, paint, sand, mind or jewels. Jai Dwarka Prabhu, are all these substances material or spiritual?
Material, Prabhuji. All material.
All material. So how can the murti made out of these substances suddenly become spiritual? Very simple. It's right there in the Srimad Bhagavatam that the deity form of the Lord is said to appear in 8 varieties: stone, wood, metal, earth, paint, sand, mind or jewels. Now the Vaishnav has to answer very carefully. The Vaishnav says, take all of these things and use it in the context of Om, because the impersonalist has deep faith in Om, the Vedas. Now, Jai Dwarka Prabhu, you are an impersonalist for this lecture. Now I ask you a question. Prabhu, Can Om appear in, can we carve Om on a stone? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji, surely we can count.
So does this Om represent the absolute truth or not?
Yes, Prabhuji, it represents.
Arey, you are an impersonalist. Huh? You are an, if Om can represent the absolute truth even if carved on a stone, and Om is the absolute truth even if carved on a stone. So if Murti is carved in stone, it is not the absolute truth. What sort of hypocrisy is this? हाँ? ये बताना, ऐसा नहीं चलेगा ना प्रभु जी, आपका अलग स्टैंडर्ड हमारा अलग स्टैंडर्ड, ऐसा नहीं चलेगा ना प्रभु. This will not work. So
This
if
is
you
the only divine sound or the representation we have. Apart from this, we don't have any divine representation.
Wow, so you are allowed to have you can carve it on stone. Go to all the impersonalist ashrams, they have carved in stone, put up painting everywhere Om. Are Baba, if the absolute truth is all pervasive, why have you contained it in a limited photograph or a limited carving? Why are you doing like this? So this is, we should understand that the impersonalists also use limited form representations, and these representations are directly the absolute truth. Acha, stone is done. Second is wood. So Prabhu, can Om be carved on wood? Yes or no? Jai Dwarka Prabhu? Yes.
Yes, the Om can be carved on wood.
Okay, so if Om can be carved on wood, then this Om also directly represents Om iti Brahma. So that Om which you have carved on wood is directly the supreme absolute truth according to you. Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Wow. So you can, जब आप करोगे तो फिर कोई problem नहीं है. You do things like this, there is no problem. And we carve a deity out of wood and suddenly you say this is Maya. So how can that be? Okay. Prabhu, metal or sand. Prabhu, can we write Om on sand? Yes or no?
Yes,
Does
Prabhuji.
This is the absolute truth? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Wow. And if a particular person makes a deity of the Lord in sand, then suddenly it is a product of Maya. So how can this double standard will not work? Prabhu, please try to understand. So the impersonalist should be trapped in this way. Remember that the impersonalist also believes firmly in the Vedas and Om, because his belief in the Vedas is what is separating him from becoming a Nastik or an atheist. So he believes in the Vedas, that is good thing in him. Otherwise he would have become a Nastik and atheist. But you should challenge him in the exact same way, then he will understand, oh yes, although the supreme absolute truth is arupam, that it has no form, but what it means is that it has no material form. All the forms such as Om are spiritual. All the sounds such, it is a shabdam, it has no sound, but all sounds such as Om are completely spiritual. So in this way, the impersonalist should be made to understand. Next, the question arises, is Bhagavan within the Murti? Or is he represented by the Murti, which means is the Murti a shortcut to the original file? Something like that. Or is he directly the Murti? So this is a very important question asked. So different sadhakas. Somebody is Brahmavadi, somebody is Paramatmavadi, somebody is directly a Bhakta, somebody directly believes in Bhagavan. They have different conceptions. So similarly, just as different people have different conceptions of Om, similarly different people have different conceptions about Murti. Some people think, if we ask them the same question regarding Om, is Brahma absolute truth within Om? Is it represented by Om? Or is the absolute truth directly Om? So Jai Dwarka Prabhu, please tell me, what is it? What is the truth?
It's directly the Om, Prabhuji.
Wow. So you impersonalist, you believe that it is directly Om. It is not within Om, Prabhu. Are you sure?
Yes, yes, Sabri.
So you are sure? Wow. So Om is directly the absolute truth. And when we Vaishnavas say that Śrī-Vigraha is directly Bhagavan, it's not that Bhagavan is sitting within Śrī-Vigraha. It's not that Śrī-Vigraha is a shortcut to Bhagavan. It's not like that. So if Om is directly Brahma, then why can Śrī-Vigraha not be directly Bhagavan? So different people have different conceptions of the syllable Om. Some people think Brahma is within Om. Sa esha iha pravishtaha. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says Brahma has entered into everything in this universe. Brahma is everywhere. It has entered into everything. So it has also entered into Om. So Bhagavan is within Om. This is the lowest level of conception. Higher level of conception is that the absolute truth is represented by Om. It is given in Yoga Sutra, Tasya Vachakaha Pranavaha. That Pranavaha, Om, is denoting, it is pointing to the absolute truth. But the highest understanding is Om iti Brahma. Om is directly the absolute truth. Jai Dwarka Prabhu, between these three statements, which statement is denoting the highest variety of Tattva?
The last one, Prabhuji.
Yes. Om iti Brahma. Om is directly the absolute truth. So just as Om is directly the absolute truth, similarly the Parambra, the replica in the shape of a form is also directly the absolute truth. Whatever the impersonalist believes in regards to Om, we believe in regard to Śrī-Vigraha. The good impersonalist believes that Om is directly the absolute truth, and the good Vaishnava believes that Śrī-Vigraha is directly Bhagavan. It is not, Bhagavan is not sitting within the Śrī-Vigraha. Bhagavan is not only represented by Śrī-Vigraha, but Bhagavan is directly Śrī-Vigraha. So it is Rupa Pratikriti, form manifestation of Bhagavan in this material world. Let me take you to a very special incident in Dwarka. So Jai Dwarka Prabhu, your name has Dwarka in it. So let me take you to a very special place, very special incident in Dwarka. Shri Narad Muni was once visiting Dwarka. So when Shri Narad Muni was once visiting Dwarka, Narad Muni saw something. Narad Muni saw that Bhagavan Shri Krishna is getting married to 16,000 princesses simultaneously. So Narad Muni saw 16,000 simultaneous marriages of Shri Krishna. It is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when Narad Muni saw this, Narad Muni almost fainted. Almost fainted on seeing this 16,000 simultaneous marriages. Shri Jiva Goswami says, stop, why? Please wait. Why did Narad Muni faint? Narad Muni is a perfected yogi. He has seen other yogis take multiple forms. He himself can take multiple forms. So if Krishna is taking multiple forms and Krishna is getting simultaneously married to 16,000 princesses using multiple forms, why should it come as a surprise to Narad Muni? Very simple question he asks. Then Shri Jiva Goswami gives the reply in the Sandarbhas. That he says, usually yogis are able to replicate themselves or expand themselves only in 8 or 9 expansions. Yogis are able to have 8 or 9 expansions. First is he saw 16,000 plus expansions of Bhagavan Shri Krishna in Dwarka. Secondly, when he saw this, these were not expansions actually. These were not expansions. What is expansion? Expansion means one person is the original and everybody else has come out of his body. That is what we call expansion or amsha. But these were not expansions. These were 16,000 original Krishnas. So these were not expanded from the body of one Krishna. Like in the Brahma Vimohan Leela, there was one Krishna, and Krishna, from his body, all the bodies of the calves and gopas expanded. And finally, those expansions again came back into his body. So this was not the case here. These were 16,000 original Krishnas. You can see here, one marriage ceremony is going on. You can see in the background, another marriage ceremony is going on. You can see in the further in the background, third marriage ceremony is going on. In this way, 16,000 simultaneous marriage ceremonies are going on. And all of them are original Krishnas. Nobody is expansion. Narad Muni now almost fainted because there is a reason. Jai Dwarka Prabhu, how many Krishnas had taken birth from Devaki and Vasudev? Please tell me.
One, Prabhuji.
And how many Devakis and how many Vasudevs were there?
Only one.
So how did the remaining 15,999 Krishnas come into this world without Devaki and Vasudev?
Why?
Hmm.
As an impersonalist, I have no answer.
All right. Try to think, try to give an answer. Acha, I'm sorry, I forgot you are an impersonalist. You don't believe in the entire concept. All right. For 1 or 2 minutes, please come back to your original Swarup. Jai Dwarka Prabhu. Huh? So, as a Vaishnava, why did, if there was only one Devaki and only one Vasudev, so where did the remaining 15,999 Krishnas come from in Dwarka?
Because he is Supreme Personality of Godhead, so he can expand him to as many forms as he wants.
But this was not expansion. I told you, no, this is not expansion. Expansion is what? There's one original, from his body, expansion comes out, and expansion always has some different feature from the original. That is what is different in expansion. Here there are 16,000 original Krishnas. Ishvara Paramah Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadi Radhir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam multiplied by 16,000. So what is going on? Prabhu, tell me.
He manifested 16,000 forms out of his the spiritual potency, Yog Maya.
Out of thin air, he manifested 16,000 forms. Huh? You know what this means, Prabhu? You know what this means? This means that Narad Muni realized that Krishna did not have to take birth in order to appear in the material world. Krishna is always present in the material world in all directions, in all sizes, in all shapes, in all forms. Krishna is present. Didn't Arjun see the same scene in Bhagavad Gita where he is seeing Krishna's hands, legs everywhere? Sarvato Pani Padam, that everywhere are his hands and legs. Arjun saw this very same scene in the Bhagavad Gita. And when we see in the photograph, it appears very sweet. Krishna is having so many arms and Krishna is having legs and Arjun is, and it appears very sweet. Why is Arjun afraid? If the same thing starts happening in 3D, arms coming out in all directions, legs coming out in all directions, then everybody will become frightened. Heads coming out in all directions, everybody will become frightened. Arjun became frightened. Narad Muni in Dwarka realized, actually Krishna is present between you and me, Jai Dwarka Prabhu. Krishna is present between me and my computer. Krishna is present in all sizes, all shapes, all eternal forms. And when one such form manifests in front of the eye as Śrī-Vigraha, dear impersonalist, why should you complain? Why should you complain? Please tell me.
Yes, no answer. Blank.
No answer. My goodness. Our impersonalist. I think we need to find a better impersonalist next time. So no, but I think you're doing a good job, Prabhu. There is practically no answer against the logic given by Srila Jiva Goswami. All right. So, in this way, Bhagwan is present everywhere, not only in an impersonal way. Bhagwan is present everywhere in his personal form, in all directions. We say Sarvato Mukham, everywhere are his faces. In all directions are his faces. So his personal form is present everywhere. Each and every place in this world, in every form that you see, he is present. So when you look at the deity in the temple, that deity is nothing but of that form of Krishna which was already present there, but it has very mercifully become manifest in front of our eyes. It was not that that form was not present before. It was not that before ISKCON Dwarka and the deities which were installed, that form was not present. Unlimited forms are present in all directions and all shapes, all sizes. So that form which you see in front of your eye is nothing but that eternal form which got manifested in front of the eyes of the devotees. So this is the Siddhanta which we need to understand. Finally, please go back to impersonal mode. Dear Jai Dwarka Prabhu. Is it a fact or not that so many murtis were destroyed by invaders? If a murti cannot protect itself, how will it protect us? Yes or no, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, you Vaishnavas, you had to hide your murtis in so many times, especially during the Mughal rule. So, how is it that if the murti cannot protect itself, how will it protect us? So many invaders, they came and destroyed. So, is there any answer that we can give to the impersonalist? So, answer is yes. We can give a very good answer. I said, use the same logic and just replace DT with Vedas. So, dear impersonalist, when Bakhtiyar Khilji, one invader, came to India, he burned the library of Nalanda and so many Vedas were burnt and destroyed. So, when Vedas are burnt or destroyed by an invader like Bakhtiyar Khilji, does it mean that the Vedas cannot protect itself, therefore they don't represent the absolute truth? Tell me, dear impersonalist.
Now I'm like trapped.
So, no, Prabhu Bakhtiyar, if you search the history, there was one invader, Bakhtiyar Khilji. He burned the library at Nalanda. It is said that it was burning for a month. Rig Ved, Samved, Yajur Ved, Atharva Ved, all the Vedas were there. Right. So, if by burning a Veda, by burning a Pratikriti, a replica of the Veda, does the absolute truth become harmed?
No, Prabhuji.
No. Why?
Purnamadaha Purnamidam.
Wow. Beautiful. Wow. You are giving arguments in our favor only, dear impersonalist. Welcome to our school. So if the Vedas cannot be destroyed by an invader, how can Shri Murti be destroyed by an invader? By destroying Shri Murti or by destroying the deity, the invader can never harm Bhagwan in any way whatsoever. Previously also, these invaders are not the first case. During the rule of Hiranyakashipu, all the murtis were broken and deity worship was banned. At that point of time, nobody said that, if Vishnu cannot protect his own murti, then how will Vishnu protect us? In fact, Prahlad Maharaj gives a beautiful statement in the Vishnu Puran. And I would love to cite this statement. This is a very important statement. And based on this statement, I would like to ask you a few questions, Jai Dwarka Prabhu. But first, let's understand the statement. Prahlad Maharaj goes to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu asks him, what have you learned? Prahlad Maharaj says, I have learnt about Vishnu, Bhakti is the highest, etc., etc. Hiranyakashipu tries to convince him otherwise, he doesn't listen. Hiranyakashipu orders the demons, kill him using weapons. So the demons prepare to attack him using weapons. They are sharpening their weapons. The swords are being sharpened. They are about to attack Prahlad. At that time, Prahlad utters a very beautiful verse. In the Vishnu Puran, Prahlad says, Vishnu shastreshu yushmasu Mayi chasau vyavasthitah दैतेयास्तेन सत्येन माक्रमन्त्वा युधानि मे. Vishnu shastreshu, or demons, Vishnu is dwelling, or he is present in these weapons also. Yushmasu, Vishnu is present in all of you. Mai, Vishnu is also present in me. Vyavasthitah Daityastena satyena, since this is completely true, makramantu ayudhani me, may all of your weapons fail to attack me. Now, dear impersonalist, is Vishnu not present in the weapons? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, wow. Is Vishnu not present in the attacker? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Wow. So if Vishnu is present in the weapon who is attacking, Vishnu is present in the attacker, and nothing can move without the sanction of Vishnu. So how can an invader destroy a deity? Can Vishnu destroy Vishnu, Prabhu? Please tell me.
No, Prabhuji.
So if Vishnu cannot destroy Vishnu, then how can an invader using his sword, because Vishnu is there in the sword, Vishnu is controlling all his actions, Vishnu is Upadrishta Anumanta, Vishnu is sitting in his heart as super soul and allowing all of his activities. So how can Vishnu destroy himself? Prabhuji, these questions have arisen only in modern day times. In Dwapar Yuga, people had better intelligence. Let me give an example. In Dwapar Yuga, when Krishna's feet were personally touching the planet, the Pandavas had to face, they had to go to the forest for 12 years, and 1 year incognito they had to stay. Prabhu, at that time, did Krishna do anything? Tell me.
Yes, Krishna protected them.
All right. No, but did Krishna do anything to bring them back to the city?
No, Prabhuji.
Ashwathama killed 5 sons of the Pandavas. Did Krishna protect them?
No, Prabhuji.
Acha. So if your Bhagwan cannot protect his devotees, is he really Bhagwan? Did anybody give this logic in Dwapar Yuga, Prabhu?
No, Prabhuji.
Acha. When Shri Ram and Lakshman are fighting Meghnad, Indrajit, and Meghnad releases his weapon, and Lakshman falls unconscious. What is happening? Does Lakshman fall unconscious, Prabhuji? Does
Yes,
that happen? So
yes.
how did Lakshman fall unconscious, Prabhu?
By the will of the Bhagwan.
Oh my goodness. Oh, wow, dear impersonalist. What is going on? So Bhagwan becomes unconscious by his will. Bhagwan becomes defeated by some demon like Kal Yavan by his will. Bhagwan becomes defeated, by Jarasandh so many times. Bhagwan runs away from Jarasandh by his will. All of this is what? This is Bhagwan's what?
Pastimes, Prabhuji.
Wow, so it is Bhagwan's Leela. Dear impersonalist, please understand that just as Bhagwan, nobody casts a doubt on Bhagwan. When Bhagwan doesn't help the Pandavas, nobody casts a doubt on Bhagwan. When the Pandavas' sons are killed, nobody casts a doubt on Bhagwan. When Ram and Lakshman become unconscious, nobody casts a doubt on Bhagwan in all these cases, because they say that it is Bhagwan's what, Prabhu?
Leela.
Similarly, when some apparent reversals happen in the case of DT, nobody should cast a doubt. Shri Vyasadeva gives a very simple reply in the Vedanta Sutra. Are lokavattu lila kaivalyam. This entire material universe is nothing but Leela of Bhagwan. So this is very important Vedanta Sutra. Look, you can, those who are interested should note down the Sutra number. Lokavattu Leela Kaivalyam. Are the entire material world is nothing but a playground of Bhagwan. The playground is also created by him. The actors are also created by him. He also has entered into the weapons. He is everywhere. So can Vishnu destroy Vishnu? Dear impersonalists, please tell me.
No, Prabhuji.
No. But this doesn't mean that we should not try to protect the deities. We should protect the deities, just as Mother Yashoda protected Krishna. Although Krishna is Bhagavan and he is capable of protecting himself, still Mother Yashoda took anxiety for Krishna. Nanda Maharaj took anxiety for Krishna. Similarly, although Bhagavan is as the deity, he is manifested, and Bhagavan is the deity, still we should take all efforts to protect the deity, because our love is invested in Shri Bhagavan, who has come to us as the deity. We love Shri Bhagavan as the deity. Therefore, we should understand, although from a Jnani point of view, everything is a sport of the Lord. Whatever is happening in this universe is nothing but a pastime of the Lord. But please don't think that just because of this, we should become careless towards protecting the deity. We should take utmost care of the deity, and definitely this is a reason why all the Vaishnavas wanted to protect the deities from the invaders. And we have a very simple solution, dear devotees. Please raise your hands. How many of you feel bad that deities were destroyed in the past? Please raise your hands. Yes, everybody feels bad that deities were destroyed in the past. If you feel bad, people like Bakhtiyar Khilji, people like Aurangzeb destroyed deities in the past, then please take the best example. Srila Prabhupada is laughing on Bakhtiyar Khilji. Arey, how many deities will you destroy? Today I have created so many deities in each and every part of the world that Bakhtiyar Khilji will also, fall short. This is our sampradaya. Please, if you are unhappy, dear devotees, that a deity was destroyed, take a vow. In my lifetime, I will establish at least 100 deities. Take this vow today, that in my lifetime, I will help establish 100 deities in the homes, in the temples around the world. This is the best way to do that. Dushasan will keep pulling the sadi, but our job is we are of that party which supplies unlimited sadi. I hope you are able to understand. So we belong to that party. Let Dushasan try his best to pull sadi as much as he wants. Today, in India, the biggest sadi business is in Surat, in Gujarat. So sometimes I joke, from Dwapar Yug, this business has started, because the original manufacturer of unlimited sadi was present in Gujarat in Dwapar Yug. So from there only he started supplying sadi, unlimited sadi. And as a result, also in India today, the biggest sadi business is from Gujarat. So similarly, in ISKCON, our business is very simple. Prabhupada never complained so much about the deities that were destroyed. Prabhupada was more concerned about establishing newer and newer deities, Rath Yatras everywhere around the world. Dear devotees, this is what we should do. Manifest Bhagavan in each and every corner of the world. Establish as many deities as possible. Establish temples. Sometimes when I hear about the wonderful activities, prachar of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, his specialty is that he has installed so many temples, established so many temples around the world. And this is so dear to Shri Bhagavan. Why? Because this is directly the work of Srila Prabhupada. This is undoing what Bakhtiyar Khilji did, multiplied by 1000. Bakhtiyar Khilji might have done what he might have done. Those days are over. Srila Prabhupada is laughing on such people. You will not be able to destroy those many deities that we will produce and install in the world. So dear Vaishnavas, if you were ever unhappy that some deity was destroyed, make sure that you establish thousands and thousands of deities, as many deities as possible around the world, and not only establish them, train devotees to worship them, train devotees to serve them, and also preserve all the styles of deities. Deities also are in various, Orisan style, Vrindavan style, various styles of deities. Preserve all of those styles, propagate all of those styles, write books about them, write Shastra about them, how to worship all these deities. Preserve all of this Vidya for the future generations, dear devotees. With this, I will pause the first part of today's presentation, dear devotees, because first it is important to establish the conception of Śrī-Vigraha in our hearts. So today I will pause with this. Our impersonalist has first raised his hand today. Jai Dwarka Prabhu, you are having the first question today. All right. So thank you very much. Yadatra Khalitam Kinchit Vidvam Saha Purayantu Tat. Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit Tad Kuroreva Me Nahi. Yadatra Khalitam Kinchit. there's any mistake in what I spoke, Dvamsah, you are all learned devotees, Purayantu tat. Please correct my mistakes. Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit. But if there was anything nice in the presentation, if you liked even a single point, please understand that Tad Guru Reva. It belongs to my Gurujanas, may nahi. It doesn't belong to me. Thank you very much, Amoglila Prabhu. Thank you, Jai Dwarka Prabhu. Thank you so much, Jai Dwarka Prabhu, for taking the role of an impersonalist. So thank you so much, Prabhu. And thank you, Shant Gopinath Prabhu, for kindly organizing the Zoom call. Thank you so much, dear devotees who were kindly attending. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So yes, Prabhu, your question. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, thank you so much, Oji, for such like I would say that all the impersonalists will be like completely shaken out to their roots once they hear this lecture of yours. So I find that really there is no answer to them. They will naturally be very blank, actually completely blank in front of this. So thank you so much, Oji, for strengthening faith of all these devotees. Many devotees are, again, as you said, that are many times attacked by this impersonalists. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. So for this, Prabhuji, I had a small question, Prabhuji, that now this point can be said by an impersonalist that because Lord is everywhere. So then why to worship only that specific form? Why can't we be having that service attitude for each and everything what we see? Why can't we see that presence of Lord everywhere in each and every individual?
Wonderful, wonderful question. Let me rephrase that question. The absolute, they don't say Lord, the absolute truth. Let's just call it the absolute truth is present everywhere in all the forms. Is he not present in my mobile phone? He is present in my mobile phone. 100% is present. So why do I worship specific forms? Why can't I offer worship to mobile phone? Is that your question? Yes or not? Or is there is yes. Take, I told you, catch the same thread of the Veda. Is the absolute truth not present in all sounds? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So why doesn't the impersonalist chant Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola? Why does the impersonalist chant Om?
Yes, now.
Because, let me tell you, although he is present in all forms, but more important are the forms mentioned in the Veda. Although he is present in all sounds, but he is worshipped by the sounds which are present in which literature, Prabhu?
Vedas.
Vedas. Similarly, although he is present in all forms, he is worshipped in forms which are directly mentioned where?
Deities.
Yes, in the Vedas have mentioned all his forms. So he is worshipped through those forms. I hope you get your answer, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes.
Please remember this logic. Always catch them using Vedas. Because Shabda Brahma and Param Brahma are parallel tracks. So whatever is applicable for Param Brahma is also applicable for Shabda Brahma. So catch them using their same logic, Prabhu. Then they will understand easily. I hope it is clear. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, 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 Prabhuji.
Thank you. So there's another question by Shyam Govind Prabhu. We'll ask him to unmute.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah. Prabhuji, I have one question. So one devotee told me that whenever deity is installed in the temple, so we call it installation ceremony.
Right.
And whenever we get the deities at home, so we call it as a deity welcoming. So what is the exact difference? Means just the procedure, because form remains the same, bhav remains the same. The deity which we worship at home, we consider the same as the deity present in temple.
Right.
So is it so what is the exact difference between these two?
So there's no difference in the home also. You can do the same thing that you do in a temple. You can carry out all the upacharas of welcome that you do in the temple. Just that devotees have invented different terms for segregating temple installations from home installations. Otherwise, nothing else. A home is also supposed to be a temple. And therefore, actually one of the terms mandir actually means a place of residence. In the Amar Kosh, etc., mandir basically means a place of residence. So a home is also a mandir, and definitely a devalay. The term for a temple is devalay. A devalay is also a mandir. So both of them are mandirs. And in both places, the deity is welcomed because the deity is directly Bhagwan. So the deity is welcome. So that is the answer to your query, Prabhu. All right. Any other query?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Dhanwad Pranam, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Such a nice lecture. Very difficult thing to convince the impersonalist about the form of
Yeah.
the Lord, and
Yeah.
you did so nicely. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. The question is that sometimes the people who actually don't believe the form of the Lord, they present the concept of Darid Narayan, like serving. If you are serving Lord and you are serving a painful person, a Lord, even if you say is in him also, you are satisfying him also, na. So how to convince him that the deity worship is actually more the one who knows is how many arguments we can put to him like that कि जो दरिद्र है ना वो तो कहेगा तो इसको कुछ संतुष्टि मिल रही है ना भगवान भी खुश होंगे उससे अगर वो तड़पता हो ठीक हो जाएगा तो कोई भूखा व्यक्ति है अगर तड़प रहा है प्यासा है उसको हम खिलाएंगे बहुत से हृदय में खुश क्यों नहीं होंगे तो आप लोग क्यों कर रहे हैं सब काम
Very nice. Very nice. So sometimes impersonalists present the concept of Daridra Narayan, that instead of serving the Sri-Vigraha in the temple, you should serve actually the poor people, because in the hearts of the poor people is also Narayan. So by serving the poor people, Narayan will be served, and this is a better Narayan to serve. Why don't you feed them? Why don't you give them clothes, etc. So this is basically this sort of a mentality of Daridra Narayan. Basically, it means that instead of serving the Lord directly, we start serving the living entities. And this is the exact opposite logic, because the Shastras say that tasmin tushte jagat tushtam. By satisfying the Lord, everybody will be satisfied. But those who believe in the Daridra Narayan worship concept, they say that instead of satisfying the root of the tree, you satisfy the branches of the tree. Why don't you satisfy the different branches? I may be able to satisfy one Daridra Narayan, but there are millions of Daridra Narayan. And as soon as I satisfy one Daridra Narayan, in few hours, he will again become hungry. So how many times hungry Narayan will I satisfy? So Narayan is becoming hungry in every 3 hours. So what am I supposed to do? So will this principle replace the eternal principle given in the Vedas, that one should worship Bhagwan directly, Sakshat Bhagwan? So this will never replace that. So therefore, a Vaishnav should understand two things: that a Vaishnav should offer everything to Lord Bhagwan Shri Vishnu, to Śrī-Vigraha, and whatever is the remnant of that should be distributed amongst those who are poor. Please understand. In this way, impersonalist will also not have chance to complain. So Vaishnavas, especially those who are householders, should engage in charity. They should give charity. Householders should feed the poor, but they should feed them prasadam. Householders should give gifts and clothes to the poor, but they should give prasadam. And by doing so, it's not that this is Daridra Narayan, he needs our worship. No, this is a jiva who is servant of the Lord. We are trying to bring this servant of the Lord closer to the Lord, and therefore we are offering him or her remnants of the Lord. This is the Vaishnava understanding. So do everything that the impersonalist expects you to do, but do it in a mood of complete Vaishnavism without considering them Daridra Narayan. A Grihastha has the adhikar to do charity, and a brahmachari or a sannyasi, whatever extra wealth they receive besides their maintenance, they are supposed to give in charity. So definitely, a grihastha should also do, a brahmachari, a sannyasi should also do. So I hope this satisfies your query. Thank you.
Thank you, you so nicely explained that concept.
Hari.
As you said, Sri-Vigrahas are different. They are already eternally existing, but they are just manifested during the time periods. So what about like deities of acharyas and demigods? Like what is their concept? Like how our understanding should be in while worshipping them, and how they do reciprocate? What is my feeling inside my heart? How do these demigods come to know?
Okay. So let's take the example of deities of various devatas. For example, deities of, Ganesh, deities of Durga, deities of Shiva. So these are various gods. Actually, Shiva is, he's Vishnu, almost Vishnu Tattva, with some vikar. So basically, Durga, Ganesh, all these deities. What about them? These are nothing but various limbs or various angas of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan Shri Vishnu. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is very clearly mentioned. I will point out a particular section from Srimad Bhagavatam where Bharat Maharaj, 5th canto, Bharat Maharaj was offering yajna to various Devi Devtas, and I will share my screen and I will read what is given here. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 7th chapter. This is not a verse, paragraph number 6, 576. So after performing the preliminaries of various sacrifices, so after beginning the sacrifice, Maharaj Bharat offered the results in the name of religion to Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev. So Maharaj Bharat offered the entire sacrifice to Vasudev. In other words, he performed all the yajnas for the satisfaction of Lord Vasudev, Krishna. Maharaj Bharat thought that since the demigods were different parts of Vasudev's body, he controls those who are explained in the Vedic mantras. By thinking in this way, Maharaj Bharat was freed from all material contamination, such as attachment to lust and greed. When the priests were about to offer sacrificial ingredients in the fire, so the priests were saying, Indraya Swaha, Varunaya Swaha. So when they were offering like this, Maharaj Bharat expertly understood how the offering made to different demigods was simply an offering to the different limbs of the Lord. For instance, Indra is the arm, Surya is the sun. In this way, Maharaj Bharat understood that all the devatas are different limbs of Bhagwan. So similarly, when we see the deities of various devatas that are mentioned in the Vedas, such as Ganesh, Shiv, Durga, Skanda, Kartikeya, etc., we should understand that these are various limbs of Vishnu, just as Maharaj Bharat understood. And just as Lord Vishnu can accept offerings from his various limbs, Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vritti Manti. Similarly, whatever you offer to the Devata is accepted by the Devata, but ultimately it is accepted by Lord Vishnu. Sarva Deva Namaskaram Keshavam Prati Gacchati. Whatever you offer to a Devata ultimately goes to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. So in this way, the concept of Devata's Murtis should be understood. What are Devata's Murtis? They are limbs of Vishnu's Murti. How Bharat Maharaj understood? Similarly, we should understand. So Vishnu can manifest his limbs anywhere. So the Devata Murti should also be protected. The Devata Murtis such as Ganesh, Durga, Shiva, they are Vedic deities. We should also, whenever we see them, we should offer respect to them. We should protect them. We should definitely 100% protect them. And we should offer all our respect. We should know that since they are a limb of Vishnu, they can accept offerings. But those offerings they will ultimately give to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because Sarva Deva Namaskaram Keshavam Prati Gacchati. I hope this understanding satisfies your query, Prabhu.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And as far as the deity of the Acharya is concerned, for example, we make a deity of some Acharya. Now there are deities around the world of Srila Prabhupada, of the entire Guru Parampara. There are photographs, pictures. So when we offer anything to Prabhupada, so basically, or when we offer anything to any Acharya who is Jiva Tattva, basically who is in the category of a liberated Jiva, but he is Jiva Tattva. So a Jiva is basically, is it that a Jiva is present in 10,000 places at the same time? So the understanding is that Guru Tattva basically means Samashti Guru, Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So Sri Nityananda Prabhu is present in all the places wherever the Murti of Guru is manifest, and he understands whatever offerings are being given, and he takes the offerings and he makes sure that the offerings reach the particular Acharya or the particular Acharya who has manifested as Jiva Tattva. So I hope that also is clear, because Sri Nityananda Prabhu is manifest in all the Guru Murtis, so he can understand which Guru they are worshipping, what offering they are giving, and he can make sure that the offering of bhakti reaches that particular Acharya. So I hope that this satisfies your second part of the query too. Does that satisfy you, Prabhu?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dana Pranam.
Yeah.
One more question, Prabhuji, I had regarding this. But even after learning this Siddhanta, that how a deity is not even represented, is rather Krishna himself. But still, because of ignorance in the heart, which is lying in the heart, which is not eradicated even while learning the principles theoretically. So, but that still remains, that when we are in front of deity, that the spiritual connection does not come. And still we tend to see deity as matter only. How we can work upon this subject?
So therefore, today I told what is the tattva. Manan Nidhi Dhyasan. Meditate again and again. Whenever you have a doubt about deity, think about Om. Will you have the same doubt about Om? Tell me. If you, the same doubt that you have in deity, you promise me you will have the same doubt in Om. Chalega? Let's have this arrangement from today. You are allowed to have the same doubt, provided that you have the same doubt in Omkar, in the Veda. Because I know, Jai Dwarka Prabhu, how attached you are to Shastra. So same doubt that you have in DT, you are allowed to have a doubt in DT if you have the same doubt in Shastra. Chalega, Prabhu? This arrangement will work? Why? Yeah, so Prabhuji, whenever you have a doubt, I know, because I myself also have faced some of these arguments and doubts in my life. When I was a new devotee, nobody answered these for me. Nobody answered for me. So for so many years of, difficulty and people just giving any solution. Some people saying just stop asking questions. पूछने का ही नहीं, बंद करो, चुप रहो, जो है वैसे accept कर लो. So nobody giving answer. So I also struggled in darkness. I suffered in darkness for many years because of not having the correct conception. Sometimes I am thinking DT represents the Lord. Bhagwan is in Golok and DT is a shortcut to Bhagwan. It's like a computer shortcut. So sometimes I was thinking like this. So not. Gradually we should change our vision by Manan and Nidhi Dhyasan, by meditating on, the words that I spoke today. Shabda Brahma, Param Brahma. Can Bhagwan not take a form in this world, Prabhu? Please tell me. Can he take or not take? Okay. If any reversals happen, such as the DT gets destroyed or anything, did those reversals not happen in the personal presence of Bhagwan also? Yes or no?
Yes.
Did Jara not shoot an arrow at the feet of Bhagwan?
Yes.
What did Bhagwan do at that point of time?
He let the pastime happen.
So, अरे तुम्हारा भगवान ये कैसा भगवान है? उसके पैर में तीर मार देता है और वो कुछ करता भी नहीं है. What sort of Bhagwan is this? Somebody shoots an arrow and he doesn't do anything? Please tell me.
He's filled with different mallows for tasting different mallows. He does that.
Understand it. One time I'll tell you once nice incident. One time in Jaipur, the Ramanandi Sampradaya devotees, they told the Maharaja of Jaipur that this Radha is not married to Krishna. So you should not put their deities together. So separate the deities. So, and with Krishna, you should put Lakshmi. So Maharaja of Jaipur, what he did is, for the time being, he separated Radha Krishna, he put Lakshmi besides Krishna, and he sent a message to Vrindavan to Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti. Are Baba, Radha has been separated because there is no justification for her being with Krishna because she is not married to Krishna. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur started laughing at that time when he heard the news. He said, Bhagavan is playing some pastime of sulkiness with Srimati Radharani. Therefore, Srimati Radharani has gone away from Krishna for some days. I will send my dear disciple Baladev Vidya Bhushan, who will set things correct. All right. See the vision of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. We will learn a lot of things, Prabhu. Learn a lot of things. Gradually, we will learn to have this faith. All right, Prabhu. It is difficult for those who are too much into Shastra. Understand, we have some past life connection with impersonalists. Therefore, we have so much attachment to Shastra, but little lesser attachment to Śrī-Vigraha. This is our rough edge, Prabhu. This is our rough edge which we should work upon. We are experiencing friction in this regard. So we should, nothing wrong in accepting a doubt, Prabhu. Nothing wrong in accepting a doubt, as long as we are willing to work upon it. There are many people who just sweep the doubt under the table, do nothing about it. For years and years, the doubt rots in their mind and eats up their spiritual life. So better than that is to honestly acknowledge the doubt, to understand from Tattva. Our acharyas were not blind when they accepted deity worship. So there is complete Shastric support. Today I have given a very pertinent argument in support of deity worship, in support of the validity of deity being Bhagavan. So please meditate on this, and then gradually you will learn to understand that Bhagavan manifests in that way. Now, do you wish to see Bhagavan always as the deity, or do you wish to see Bhagavan more personally within your heart? That is your choice. That is your choice. Ultimately, some devotee may think, okay, Bhagavan is there as the deity, but I want Bhagavan to interact with me directly in my heart. So that you can, that is your personal choice. No problem with that. Deity can also interact. Krishna can also interact in the heart. If your personal choice is that you want Krishna to come in your heart and be established in your heart and interact with you in the heart, no problem at all. That is called Antardarshan. Acharyas have validated it. So you aim for Antardarshan, but don't neglect Bahirdarshan. I hope you're able to. Don't neglect the external darshan when you get of Bhagavan. I hope this satisfies your query, Prabhuji. Right?
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
My pranams.
Thank you so much for the wonderful lecture, Prabhuji, for increasing our faith towards the deities. Prabhuji, my question is like sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens that the deities they get a little bit destroyed, not completely. Like little bit khandan happens.
Right.
So they go for repair also. Actually, like for painting and other things. So we know in Jagannath Puri they do some kind of rituals. But in our Gaudiya Sampradaya, Prabhuji, what is the actual steps or process to be followed? Like
okay.
Khandan happens.
Okay. So see, when Krishna was in the battle of Mahabharat, Bhishma shot many arrows, and many of these arrows pierced the body of Krishna, and blood came out. So how do we perceive that? You only tell me, Prabhu, how do you perceive that?
Krishna was actually relishing that Veeraras.
Wow. So now Krishna relishes his body being cut by the arrows of Bhishma. Krishna relishes the blood flowing and all these things. So I told you, Lokavattu Lila, I quoted the Vedanta Sutra. Everything in the world is nothing but a world is a playground of Bhagavan. Whatever is happening here is also nothing but a Leela of Bhagavan. So sometimes some things happen, some incident like this happens. We should get the deity repaired. We should get the deity fixed, because it is our Bhagavan is doing his Leela. We should do our service. The reason why Bhagavan is doing his Leela is because we also get opportunity to do service. Let's say Bhagavan stops doing his Leela. The deity remains in perfect condition for 10,000 years. You don't even need to change the clothes. Will you get any opportunity to do service? Tell me. No. So whenever such incidents or such events happen, you should take it as an opportunity to do service. Otherwise, if Bhagavan doesn't manifest any of these events, then there will be no opportunity for service. For example, this Sri Madhavendra Puri. So there is no sandalwood is not there. He is Bhagavan. He can't manifest sandalwood by his power. Impersonalists, he is Bhagwan, he can't manifest sandalwood by his power. What sort of Bhagwan is he? He cannot manifest. But how does Madhavendra Puri take it? Please tell me.
An opportunity to serve.
So he travels all the way. He gets so much chandan, and then gets so much opportunity to do seva. And by this, therefore we understand that all these things are nothing but opportunities to render seva. When Lakshman fell down unconscious, Ram fell down unconscious, and then they bought the Vaidya from Lanka, and he said Sanjeevani Bhuti is required. So then somebody should say, "Na, he is Bhagwan, he should bring Sanjeevani Bhuti himself." Why does Bhagwan need Sanjeevani Bhuti for somebody else to bring? But did Hanuman say like this? No. So what was Hanuman's attitude at that point of time?
Ready to serve.
Yeah, very nice. Be like that. All right.
My question was like in Jagannath Puri they have a fixed time of a Navakalevar.
Yeah.
Yes. Some astronomical charts and they prepare it.
Yeah.
In our Gaudiya Vaishnav, our Gaudiya Vaishnav Sampradaya,
Right.
it happens like it is not fixed. Like anything can happen as
Right.
a playful sport for the Lord.
Right.
Now the change, like when the deity is under repair, we cannot offer food items and
Right.
we can do arch and that because it is in some place else. So
Right.
what to do in that circumstance?
All right. So your question is that when the DT has for some time gone away, either for some repair or something like that, what to do in that point of time? At that point of time, devotees should engage in Manasi Seva. Manasi Seva is basically offering Bhagwan the various offerings through the mind. Because Manasi Seva is a very valid form of rendering Seva to Bhagwan. So when Bhagwan is not with us, just like when Bhagwan was in Vrindavan, the Vrajvasis used to offer him foodstuffs, so many times in a day. But when he went to Mathura, in their minds, they used to offer to him. So you should live like a Vrajvasi. Do you want to live like a Vrajvasi or not? Yes? Huh?
I may try, I'm not perfect.
Yeah, but you want to live, right? You have an aspiration. Yes. So when Bhagwan is in front of you, he is present in front of you, feed him like a Vrajvasi. When Bhagwan goes away for some days, be little unhappy, but feed him in your mind. All right. Do like Vasudev did. When Krishna was born, Nanda Maharaj observed a big feast, big festival and fed everybody. How many, he donated so many cows. How many cows did Vasudev donate?
I don't remember the exact count. 10,000.
Vasudev was in the prison, Prabhu. The next day, Vasudev was in prison. How many cows did Nanda Maharaj donated? Lakhs of cows. How many cows did Vasudev donate?
He did it in mind.
Wow. So the Vaishnav commentator Sri Hari Suri said that Nanda Maharaj donated Laksha Go. Laksha Go means lakhs of cows. But Vasudev donated Asankhya Go. Go also means senses. I hope you're able to. Vasudev donated Asankhya Go. So Prabhuji, if you can't do Laksha Gaudan, do Asankhya Gaudan like Vasudev. Do Asankhya Gaudan. Donate all of your senses from all of your lives to Bhagwan Seva. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. Bhaktir Uchyate. Do Gaudan like Vasudev did. If you can't do Gaudan like Nanda Maharaj did. So I hope this satisfies your query. All right.
Thank you so much. You also made me remember about Ugram Viram and Laghu Vishnu also in your previous section about Damodar.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for all of these wonderful references and such beautiful conception about the deity.
Thank you.
So grateful to you, Prabhuji. Now we are very anxious about the second class, which is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Today we'll be contemplating on what we learned today, Prabhuji. And
Thank
so grateful to you. Such beautiful slides with such amazing content and so much of learning. Thank you very, very much. Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Very grateful, Prabhuji.
Hare
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll log off, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare.
Thank you.